Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a Rune and Tarot Divination for Monday, the 21st of February, 2022. Well, I'm a little late in starting today. I actually forgot it was Monday. I don't know. We went and saw the grandkids on Saturday, and both my other son was there, and we got to visit with the daddy and, and our daughter-in-law, and it was so exciting and so great. And I'm exhausted. I'm just exhausted. So, anyway, it's a 3 hour trip or 3.5 hour trip, depending, each way. So, a lot of time on the road. And so, anyway, I wasn't recouped enough yesterday, and I don't know. I slept in, and I don't know. Anyway, so I'm a little late, so I apologize. But the grandkids are gorgeous. The new baby is gorgeous, and oh my gosh, what an excellent day it was. And to see both our boys together, that was just the best. So anyhow, we have a 3 numerology for today. This is from the Esoteric Influences for the week. You can find that over on the blog at Stepping Aside at imsteppingaside.com. Links are below this video if it's your first time here, and if it is, welcome. I appreciate you stopping by. Anyway, the Numerology of 3 means optimism, imaginative, self-expression, and attention to details. The Elder Futhark rune for the as above part of the esoteric influences anyway is Ansu's, which is Odin's rune. It's eloquence, spirit communication, creation, higher self, divinity, and clarity. The Geomancy rune for today was Populus, meaning people, crowd, a follower. It also means group behavior. It's the passive side. You've got Populus and Vaya, and Vaya would be the active side where you're taking a self-directed path, whereas Populus, you're kind of following the crowd. The sun's in Pisces, the moon's in Libra until it switched to Scorpio this morning at 1:19 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the interpretation for today is you express yourself with clarity today, and others appreciate your imagination and attention to details. That's that 3 numerology there. If you're a writer or artist, you may attract more followers with your eloquent and creative approach. Remain positive and optimistic, and new opportunities are sure to follow. Emotional awareness heightens your self-expression, and your message appeals to a diverse group of people. It's important now that you don't cut corners or engage in with someone who is either not trustworthy or who may resort to criminal behavior. Instead, engage in relationships that benefit and promote your ambition, subsequent success, and selfless service to others. With the moon in the 7th house of marriage and contracts, you may also attract new clients or potential investors today. In fact, it seems like everything is truly going your way right now. Your intuition is strong, and others stand ready to assist you if necessary. If the overall picture appears confusing, though, step back to reassess so that the decisions you make are clearly understood. So let's get rid of this, get that out of my way here. And we'll go ahead, we'll move my keyboard too. My D key came off of my my Mac laptop, so I had to take the little keyboard that I have for this computer. I have a bigger one too, but I had to take that little one and use it instead of the keyboard on the laptop. That was fun this morning. So as far as, again, the Elder Futhark rune and the Geomancy runes, Geomancy is earth element. So I kind of view that as the below side of as above, so below. And then since the runes are a language of spirit, then that's obviously the as above side of things. And here we have Nathis. Nathis is one of the 3 Norn runes. I give them a little bit more power in the Elder Futhark than I do some of the other runes, but this is the rune Nathis. It's the Norn rune of the future. It is essentially manifestation. It's the invocation of will. It can also involve binding, but it is really the friction within to manifest something new. So we will see then what we come up with the throwing down the 4 elemental geomancy runes. I do that, and I put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. And each of the foundational runes here are coded with that particular element that it is. And so let's see, that one goes there. So we have, it looks like a missio. So a missio is loss, and evidently something is happening that involves loss today. This is a missio. So either it's losing the ego, maybe you could think that. You can look at it in terms of increase or decrease, and so acquisitio, which is its complement, would be an increase or gain, and loss here with a missio could just mean the decrease of something. And if we're talking about, you know, expressing our will from a higher perspective with Nathes, then maybe it's the loss of ego affecting that sort of thing. But we'll see. We'll see what the cards have to say anyway. So I've already been shuffling here for a bit, and we'll just do a little bit more. And then we'll cut the cards and we'll begin the reading. We'll take 3 cards, and we'll see where that takes us. Sometimes we take more, but usually we can do it with 3. So let's cut the cards. And from there, we have the 2 of Wands. And let's see, let's get some of this stuff out of my way here. We have the 2 of Wands. We have Temperance, which is a major arcana card. Oh, and we have Death. So again, we had a lot of majors last week. In fact, I think one day, didn't we have, wasn't it all 3 were major cards, I think? Or at least 2 of them were. I'm not sure what I did with that. But I think one day we had, I think it was all 3, but I'm not sure. Might have been the week before. But when we see major arcana cards, basically what we're looking at is soul archetype cards. And so they, again, like with the Norn runes in at least as I see it, in the Elder Futhark, you're looking at energy that's more powerful, more profound. It's coming from the as above side of things, basically, where the soul, this is soul archetype stuff. So they're the concepts the soul basically has to work through while in physical form. The minor arcana is more about the details of our life. And so we only have one of those, the 2 of Wands here. And we'll begin with that. We see a man holding a globe. He's standing up on up above on something there. And we see one staff, or wand, if you will, attached to the wall there. And he's holding the other a little higher than the other staff is. And it sort of gives you, especially with this cutaway here, it sort of gives you the impression of a window into new opportunities. You know, in a sense, you know, with the 3, you'll see him looking in a different direction over the other. Well, as he's looking this way, he'd be looking this way. Excuse me. And there he's kind of waiting for his ship to come in. But here, he's trying to figure out, you know, where am I going with this? And so we're looking at balanced energy or will, options. There's wealth. He seems to be a man of means, so wealth is also probably involved here. But I view this really as a doorway to new experiences or into new opportunities. Anytime you see the same thing on either side, whether it's 2 trees, two rock faces, it sort of indicates a path or a doorway. Now with Nathes, then we would be, that's also a fire element rune, and this is, and Wands is a fire element. It's that's the element that's associated with the suit of Wands. And so we're really looking at invoking the will in a way to manifest something new. So I think that really corresponds well with the 2 of Wands here. Now, but there's also with the 2, the numerology of 2, there's a sense of balance. And so when we come to moderation here with Temperance, which is balance, we're balancing will with emotions. You see the glyph for fire on the angel's gown there. You see the red wings, also very catalytic, very fiery, very creation-oriented, manifestation-oriented. But how are we going to do it? Are we going to do it in balanced polarity with the will or with spirit and ego? Are we going to, or are we going to let ego drive the whole experience? Again, I talked about the same thing on either side. You can see that reflected here, 2 peaks. You see a pathway going up to the mountains there. You see the sun rising over in between the 2 peaks. And the angel has 1 foot on the water, or 1 foot on the land and 1 foot in the water. So there's an element of earth here as well, and grounding. Temperance with moderation, I think, sort of implies a little bit of grounding in that regard. So that's what I think that's about. But whatever we're going to manifest, we need to keep the will in check. Okay, and that's really what this is doing. When we talk about balancing fire and water, we're talking about balancing will and emotion. But in terms of emotion, we're also talking about understanding and compassion and empathy. So is the new experience going to step over the top of people and just take for yourself, or is there going to maybe be a more collaborative type of situation, or are you at least going to be aware of the needs of others within that? So maybe, it'd be like if you got a new job offer or something, and it's not going to be the best thing for your family. So you've got to maybe pass on that and wait for something else to come that's actually going to benefit the whole group, right? And in that case, it would be your family. Maybe your kids would have to change schools. Maybe that wasn't a good thing at that time, the middle of the year kind of thing, So if you're in a family situation, it really, you're not just thinking about yourself. Well, at least hopefully you're not. So maybe with a missio, we're talking about losing some of the excessive will or the excessive ego in whatever this is talking about for you. And again, I try to keep things very general. I try to get them so that we're looking at the essence of things so that you can then apply them to your own situation. I don't like the idea of doing predictions. It just feels funny to me. So I don't really like to do that. So I just like to keep things general when I do readings. Just general energies, general influences that can help you make better decisions or just make you aware of other kinds of things that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So lastly, we come to Death. Death rides through on his white horse, carrying a beautiful flag with an inverted, with a white rose, inverted pentagram on its center. And when the pentagrams are inverted like that, it's pointing down to earth. So it's pointing down to physical form. When it's pointing up this way, then the top is pointing up to spirit. Okay? So when you see an inverted pentagram, it's not something that's evil. Well, I suppose it depends on who's doing it, but whatever their intention is. But typically when you see it, all it means is a focus down into physical form. So in this case, we see the end of the king's physical form. The queen is bereft. The child is there. The priest is here, or the Hierophant is here. Again, we see the 2 pillars, again, side by side with a pathway in between. We see the sun rising, just like we did here, or over here. Same sort of thing. To where a new expression is going to happen. Again, aligning well with not these. A new manifestation of a new reality, the end of one transition, or the transition from one thing to another, in this case, from death to rebirth. And the card of Death is just that. It's really about rebirth. As a 13th card, that's a 4 energy. So 4 and... let's see, this is a 14th card, so that's a 5. So 5 and 4 is 9, 10, 11. So we have an 11 numerology for the reading. And again, that's a master number 11 for awakening, enlightenment, spirituality, which aligns extremely well with the as above side of this of not these, and the manifestation of will from a higher perspective, from a spirit perspective, having spirit inform that whole process instead of ego, and with a missio suggesting that we lose a little bit of the ego here and be able to think about others with this 2 energy of the 2 of wands, moderation with respect to the card of temperance, That's balance again. Same sort of thing. 2 is also about balance. If you were to do this card 5, the numerology of temperance would be 5, and 2 is 7. So there again, that's bringing things into balance. Then when you think 7, think the scales and coming into balance, so you can see it that way. But unfortunately, we're not going to leave it that way. We're going to add that other 4 into it. So now we have an 11 energy for this. So I really think that this is today what we're looking at is higher self coming in. If you are looking for new opportunities, that you need to think about somebody other than yourself. If you have others to think about, you can't just think about yourself. You have to bring your will and emotions into balance. So see, and the effect that water has on fire is it puts it out. And so we don't want to put it out completely, so that you don't, assert yourself. And, if you're looking for a job or what have you, you want to be able to do that. And so you don't want to put it out entirely. That's why the angel's pouring it back and forth in balance. So balancing the will with a greater understanding of the entire picture, maybe you could say. And then we allow the new beginnings and the transition to go from one phase to another. So we have a little bit of time left. If you want, we can go ahead and we can take another card. I don't think we need it, but let's go ahead and take it and just see. I'll shuffle a couple more times. See if we get maybe a little more information on the direction of this, perhaps, in terms of what maybe we'll modify the 2 of Wands and see if he's standing there waiting for, new options. Maybe it can kind of tell us the direction of that. I'm going to take the 13th card for randomness sake. My newest grandchild, my grandson, was born on January 13th. I was born on October 13th. My first grandchild, was born on July 13th. So we all share the 13. And then her brother, the middle grandchild, he was born on July 31st. So it's the same numerology, right? Just backwards. And so it's kind of interesting. She was on the 13th, he was on the 31st. So it's an interesting synchronicity there. It's interesting pattern. But I always take the 13th one for randomness sake. So here we have the Knight of Wands. Again, we're going to modify the 2 in terms of opportunity. Here we have the Knight who's riding his steed. The steed's rearing up. He's not in battle. You can see that because his visor's up. He's holding his crude club, if you will. You can see all the little greenery still coming out on the sides of it. This is about opportunity. This is on a quest, an adventure. He's a passionate young man. He's taking risks, but there's a protective aspect always to the Knights. There's action, there's progress. And so where it may not give us specifics, it's telling you, with not these, there's an element of risk there with not these. But I think that ultimately there has to be a protective aspect to it. So again, it also modifies temperance. So I think that what the Knight of Wands is doing is reinforcing that there's something coming, a new opportunity, a new quest, a new adventure. And again, we want to approach it with a little bit of temperance, a little bit of moderation, but we don't want it to be so much that we can't allow the friction within to manifest something. But it may be that we're allowing then the friction within to manifest from a higher perspective or from spirit. And then allowing that transformation that maybe needs to happen so that you can then move on into something new with the card of death. So the end of one phase and the beginning maybe of another. So I guess that's it. I don't think I have anything else to add. Everything is up on the blog that I post every week. Then the weekly numerology, the ascendant rays, and other astrological information, that's up. That's kind of a cool post. I like doing that one. I like exploring cosmic rays. I think how they impact our lives on a daily basis. I think it's fascinating. So I really like that. Also, the daily correspondences for Work and Magic are up. Little more explanations on the recommendations if you follow me over on Patreon. There's a link to do that if you want to do that. You don't have to, though. But it's there for you if you want. It's just $1 a month. So, if you want to do that, you can. That's appreciated. And so the stuff went up on Medium. Let's see, was there one other thing? Oh, yeah, Esoteric Influences, but I already said that. So all that stuff is up, and I'm getting ready I've scheduled some stuff for next week already. And I think that's it. This will also go up on the side panel of the blog and in its own video section. I've started doing that as well. So in 2 places on the blog, as well as on YouTube. And then also I do a write-up of this on Patreon and embed the video there too. So you can find that there as well. And then sometimes I write other stuff or do other kinds of videos and put up there as well. So anyhow, I guess that's all I have to say today. I can't think of anything else. It's going to be very cold tonight and tomorrow. But then hopefully, spring will start coming back. We'll have a couple of days of winter. And it was supposed to get down to -2. And now my husband checked, and now it's just going to get down to 2 tonight, I guess. So it's like, well, all right, whatever. It's the way it goes. I spent part of my childhood in Alaska, so I'm kind of accustomed to snow. At my age, I just would prefer not to really have it for very long. But so anyway, I get cold. So I sit in my chair under my blanket and shiver, even with the heat on, until I have to throw everything off and fan myself because I'm getting a hot flash. So there you go. It's just the way of the crone. I'm telling you, it's just the way of the crone. So anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. And again, if you haven't clicked subscribe yet, I'd love you to do that and come back and join our little tarot and rune family here as we explore all of this stuff that can, give us ideas to think about and ways to live and all of that maybe we just haven't considered before. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and we'll talk again Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.